Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The tropical storm Luban continue moving towards the coasts of the Far Governorate, with chances that it may turn into a Category 1 cyclone. State military and civil establishments completed their preparations to deal with the possible impacts of the weather condition, and the Public Authority for Radio and Television is ready for media coverage. The land forces of Royal Army of Oman and Royal Guard of Oman resumed their fieldworks at Al-Shamuh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises. And the United Nations praises the Sultan's regulation system and the level of commitment of implementing bodies of anti-corruption agreement. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Giorgi Konusi Konorote of Fiji on his country's Independence Day anniversary. The latest weather charts and satellite imaginaries of the National Multi-Hazard and Early Warning Center show that the center of the tropical storm Luban is in the Arabian Sea at latitude 12.4 degrees north and longitude 60 degrees east, with a surface wind speed ranging between 93 and 102 kilometers per hour. The center of the storm is around 830 kilometers away from Salalah city. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation said that the tropical storm Luban continues to move west-northwest direction towards the coast of the Governorate of the Far and the Yemeni Republic, with chances of it becoming as a tropical storm within the next 24 hours. The latest weather prediction charts indicate that the possibility of an indirect impact of the storm on the governorates of the Far and Worcester starting tomorrow, with isolated rains and rising sea waves with maximum heights between 4 and 6 meters. The National Hazard and Early Warning Center keeps monitoring all the updates of the tropical condition. It calls upon everyone to take utmost caution and not to risk crossing flowing wadis and to move away from low areas. It also advises all to follow its latest weather bulletins and reports. The Sultanate's armed forces SAF stressed on its preparedness to deal with the weather condition which is expected to affect the Sultanate. Meanwhile, the rest of the military, civil and security apparatus continue to implement the national exercise Al-Shamuh 2 as the preparations are ongoing for Swift Sword 3 exercise. The main military committee for emergency cases management in the Sultan Armed Forces held its meeting in Muaskar al-Murtafa to review all the procedures related to providing support during the weather condition Luban in the governorates of the Far and Worcester. The meeting also focused on all formations as well as aerial and naval bases using the Ministry of Defense and SAF, which will provide support for citizens and residents according to the situation. The Sub-Military Committee for Emergency Cases Management in the Royal Army of Oman also held its meeting to review the preparations for Tropical Storm Luban. During the meeting, the committee got acquainted with the efforts exerted by the units to deal with the expected effects of the tropical storm according to plans of the committee. It also stressed on taking all safety precautions to limit effects on the weather condition through distributing units to various areas of Governorate of the Far, in addition to rescue means, ambulance, heavy equipment and other necessary services in coordination with the Sub-Civil Defense Committee. Within the preparations framework to reduce the expected effects on Tropical Storm Luban within the coming few days, various governmental bodies in the Governorate of the Far continue their preparations to deal with the weather condition and take precautionary measures which might reduce risks. and the indirect impact of the tropical storm Luban are getting closer to the coast of Dhofar and Worcester governorates, the Dhofar municipality started a clean-up campaign to remove debris and other wastes from culverts and wadis. The emergency committee of the Dhofar municipality held a meeting to review preparations of various government bodies in Dhofar and Worcester for the tropical storm. The Dhofar municipality stated that protection dams in the governorate are ready to cope with the possible effects of the weather condition, as these dams played a significant role in limiting the state of floods of Makunu cyclone 5 months ago. The Subcommittee for Civil Defence in the Governorate of Worcester discussed weather updates related to the expected tropical storm at the Arabian Sea and its effects within the coming few days. The committee reviewed preparations of all sectors for the tropical storm, especially in the wilayats to overlook the Arabian Sea. It also discussed the necessity of early preparations to provide basics of foodstuff, water and other necessary stuff. The meeting was chaired by Brigadier Mohammed bin Salim Rafa'id, Chief of Police Command in the Governorate of Worcester. His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser Al-Harrasi, Chairman of Public Authority for Radio and Television PART, affirmed the readiness of the sector's authority to cover tropical storm Luban, which may affect the Sultanate through special coverage, news bulletins, social media networks, as well as broadcasting awareness messages and citizens and residents. That came when His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser Al-Harrasi chaired a coordination meeting at the premises of PART to stand on the latest preparations to deal with the tropical storm and with the attendance of people concerned from the Executive Office of the National Committee for Civil Defence and National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Centre affiliated to Public Authority for Civil Aviation. The Executive Office reviewed the efforts exerted on the level of National System for Emergency Situation Management in order to deal with the tropical storm and means of strengthening media coverage for it. The land forces of the Royal Army of Oman and Royal Guard of Oman took all the field procedures to ensure that the command's formation and units participating Al-Shamuh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises fulfilled their operational tasks and plans effectively. The joint military work among land, naval and aerial forces will also result in the success of the implementation of the national plans by the rest of the civil and security bodies. After the completion of the deployment plan of the land forces, they started to take their positions and placing the tanks, weapons and other military units in the field. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan Armed Forces, paid a field visit in the land forces and supposed enemy commands in the Al-Shamuh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises. Then the Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces was briefed on the task, duties and roles of each of the commands during the progress of the exercises, as well as proposed solutions on the field, including military procedures and plans. The Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces was accompanied by Air Vice Marshal Matar bin Ali Al-Ubaidani, Commander of Royal Air Force of Oman, and Rear Admiral Abdullah bin Hamis Al-Raisi, Commander of Royal Navy of Oman. In order to make Al-Shamuh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises successful, the Ministry of Transport and Communication stressed on its preparedness and participate in the activities of both exercises. It will provide its support through facilitating the system of transport and technical management for the activities of their exercises, as well as paving the way for accommodation of all transport means and movement of participating military equipment. In this regard, the Duqm port contributed in hosting a number of British military equipment due to its strong infrastructure and its multi-purpose plan. Meanwhile, the ministry prepared all the facilities in Duqm Airport to provide air transport services for the participating soldiers and military equipment. The operation of Omani-British relations entered its second day in a three-day conference organized by the Sultan National Records and Archives Authority. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rabai.
The Omani-British relations and their economic and cultural influence in various fields during different historical eras extended from the 17th to the mid-20th centuries were revealed in various research papers presented in this second day of a three-day conference. The research papers presented by scholars and researchers from different parts of the world have examined parts of the cultural aspects of Oman and its humanitarian contributions to human civilization.
Sir Terence Clarke, former British ambassador to Oman in 1990 to 1994. And as a student of Omani history, I find this conference very interesting, particularly because we have heard opinions from people who have read and researched documents from non-British sources. I, as an Englishman, naturally tend to read English views on the history of the area, but as I say, it's very interesting to hear different perspectives, and I hope that we shall hear more during the coming days. Because new fields of research are being opened up, and I think it will encourage British historians to dig deeper into local Arab sources.
The topics were very good, you know, they covered a lot of ground, and we need to know more about our history, about our relationship with the British, our relationship with the French and all the countries, because as you know, our policy is to be friendly to every country in the world. So the more we know about our own history, we appreciate other people as well who played a role in the relation.
These papers that have witnessed intensive discussions in different sessions have really highlighted the nature of these relations during those centuries. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rabai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Still to come in our news bulletin. Al Roya newspaper announces launching of the first edition of Oman Tourism Awards. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. United Nations praised the regulation system in the Sultanate and the level of the commitment of the implementing bodies for anti-corruption agreement. A delegation from the United Nations arrived at the Sultanate to discuss the second round of the allocated agreement for preventive measures and returning assets. The meeting was hosted by the state's audit institution with the participation of the Administrative Affairs Board for Judiciary, Public Prosecution and Royal Oman Police and other government institutions. The delegation's visit came after the experts team of the Sultanate reviewed implementation of the aforementioned two chapters of agreement and informed the Secretariat of the party countries with the notes. The Ministry of Manpower discussed with the 4- and 5-star hotels the challenges facing them to achieve the required Omanization percentage, which is 31%. The ministry urged the hotel's owners to achieve the percentage, indicating that the Omanization percentage in the travel and tourism sector should be 43% during next year. The ministry added that some of the 4- and 5-star hotels already achieved 50% of Omanization. It is worth mentioning that this meeting is an initiative issued by the National Programme for Enhancing the Economic Diversification Tanfeed, aiming to achieve the Omanization percentage in all sectors in the Sultanate. Al Roya newspaper announced the launch of the first edition of Oman Tourism Awards during a ceremony held today under the auspices of Her Excellency Maitha bint Saif Al Mahroukiya, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism. These awards are launched to support the promising tourism sector and motivate institutions, individuals and various organizations to continue their work in this sector for its development. The awards are being launched in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism. The nominations of the awards will begin on 1st December 2018 and it will continue till 10th February 2019. The awards distribution ceremony will be held on 25th February 2019, coinciding with the Arab Tourism Day. Oman Tourism Awards were aimed to encourage initiatives which support the sector and help in achieving the goals of the National Tourism Strategy. The diversity of the categories will be the awards motivate individuals and companies to compete in providing best services and best tourism packages and offers in order to attract more tourists in the Sultanate. It will make tourism a sustainable sector. Under the title Driving Transformation Through Business Excellence, the Sultanate joined world countries in marking the World Post Day, which falls on the 9th of October every year, coinciding with the anniversary of establishing the Global Post Federation. Oman Post, a member of the Asyad Group, organized a discussion session on the institutional excellence in developing the performance, adapting the innovating to better meet the challenges, needs of customers across the Sultanate. Oman Post is implementing a lean approach across its operation. As part of its commitment in supporting the Sultanate's long-term economic diversification strategy, Oman Post is organizing the Oman Post Forum in December, which will begin with the training in global customer service excellence delivered by the Ritz-Carlton Hotels Group. The forum will feature a 3-day exhibition at Sultan Qaboos University Cultural Center, where the company will showcase Oman Post transformation journey and the prototype of the future post offices will be unveiled. The second forum for hospitals and health centers, organized by the Directorate General for Medical Care, started today. During the forum, a report hospitals' performance and their board of directors, as well as training of Omani doctors in referral hospitals, was reviewed. It also focused on the initiative of Blood Bank Services Department, which is concerned with establishing an electronic system that links all the blood banks affiliated to the Ministry of Health, in addition to including all information related to the donors. The forum was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Saif Al Husni, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Health. To mark the historical relations between Oman and Britain, the Records exhibition has been organized by the National Records and Archives Authority at Kempinski Hotel that will run till 12th of October. More details in the full report by Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rabai.
On the sideline of a conference on Omani-British relations, a record exhibition is being organized. The exhibition displays various historical and cultural contents which play an essential role in maintaining the cultural legacy witnessed by the Sultanate in various life aspects over different ages.
It is a good opportunity to refresh our historical knowledge about the relationship between the Sultanate and Britain and other parts in the world. And also it is a good chance to see in this exhibition some documents and records.
The exhibition is a direct channel to connect the National Record Archives Authority with the public, representing heritage through diverse participations. Organizing such exhibition is a cultural necessity to satisfy recipients' curiosity and enhance their skills, along with their role in introducing the Sultanate's unique history and international relations with other countries. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the most of the governorates, with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the coast of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be southeasterly to south light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The tropical storm Luban continue moving towards the coast of the Dhofar Governorate, with chances that it may turn into a Category 1 cyclone. State military and civil establishments complete their preparations to deal with the possible impacts of the weather condition, and the Public Authority for Radio and Television is ready for media coverage. The land forces of Royal Army of Oman and Royal Guard of Oman resumed their field works at Al Shumukh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises. And the United Nations praises the Sultan's regulation system and the level of commitment of implementing bodies for anti-corruption agreement. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.